some routine service on this Generac. It's a GP7500, I believe. I'm going off memory here, but the any of the GP series from Generac, they're all the same when it comes to the oil and oil change. You'll notice mine may look a little different than yours. I've done a little modification to this. If you own one of these, you know that in order to have a conversation next to it, both parties will need a megaphone because it is loud. So what I've done is set up a Rubbermaid enclosure, typical thing you find at Walmart or Home Depot, Lowe's, and found one that fit this just perfectly. I've cut in an intake on this side. There's a fan in here that runs when the generator runs, blowing cold air into this side of the unit, and then on the exhaust side, I'll give you an overview once I get it all back together, but the whole back panel has been cut, and that allows the exhaust out and plenty of the heat out as well. If I do run it in the summer, I also have this that I will flip up, and that props the top up just a couple inches. But what this enclosure does for the noise volume is, it's amazing the difference. I couldn't even sleep with this thing running at night before, and now in that same bedroom you can't hear it. So I'll get back onto that enclosure and show you kind of what it looks like in action once I get my oil change done, but just wanted to go through the oil change procedure first. So just took a pan and basically cut the edge off because you don't have a lot of clearance under that drain plug, which is right there. And grab my sockets. And I don't know what size. Not that. Alright. So a 12, looks like a 12 fits that nicely. Ooh. Man, I must have put that on there pretty good. Holy moly. That might have been a bit over torqued. And we're flowing. So this oil actually isn't that old in terms of hours. It's probably got about 40 or so hours on it. But it's a little bit over a year, and that's on something like this that sits outside, sees a lot of heat and a lot of cold cycles. So I'm not a big stickler about changing your oil every year, you know, for garage kept vehicles and things like that. But for something like this that doesn't have an oil filter and the temperatures that it sees, I do change this one regularly, at least once a year, regardless of hours. So we'll let that drain out, and once that's done, I'll pick the video back up. Okay, so we're all drained out here, just about anyway. Good enough. And throw the drain plug back in. I'll be refilling it with STP full synthetic 1030, which seems to work well. I'm up in the northeast here, and like I said, we see anywhere from 100 plus degrees in the summer down to minus 10, minus 15 in the winter. And it seems to be a good all-around oil. I'm not going to torque that quite as tight as I did the last time. Holy cow. So as far as the fill, it comes, they have these plugs with a dipstick that's about as useful as tits on a bull. You're really just filling it up to the bottom of the threads, and that's about all you need to do. And that damn solenoid wire is really in the way. And it's tight, so that's not happening. At some point I'll put a wrench on that and get that thing out of the way. I'm not going to bore you with this. I'll cut back in a minute. So that just about does it. So the oil is changed, and I'll just go over what I did or what I had to do to make this work. The control panel that's normally mounted on the side here obviously isn't going to work, so that just comes out with 4 screws, and I was able to remount that on the edge, or on the kind of the tail end of the unit facing up, which works out real nice. So your control panel's right there, and obviously you can plug things in, although I never do. Just have the 220 going, and that actually runs the whole house. Like I said, you had to cut the entire side out of this to allow for some heat extraction. The fan that's blowing in here does a good job of supplying fresh air for combustion, but it doesn't do a lot for the cooling. So in the summer, I do prop this top open like so, and just having that extra inch open or so is all it needs to keep it cool. But if you are looking into doing this, I assume no liability on that one. You have to keep an eye on it like anything else. This is not meant to go into something this tight, but it has worked for me. The batteries, the small lead acid batteries that come with these things, as most of you probably know, are completely useless. If you get a year out of them, high five. But beyond that, they just don't live. So I always I get the cheapest Walmart battery I can find. This is a $55, 650 cold crank amp battery. The last one I had in here, I got 6 years out of it, and that's after having it in a truck for 7 years. So it's a very light duty application. It doesn't take a lot of cold cranking amps to turn these over. When you're running it with a car battery, you can expect years and years and years and years of trouble-free service. I just had to replace it. Like I said, this guy is 6 or 7 years old now. Got about 150 hours, something like that on there. I've got a trickle charger that is tied into landscape lighting, so it doesn't run 24/7. Just comes on for a few hours at night, depending on the time of the year, and just keeps that trickle charge going to it, and starts every time, 100% of the time, 70% of the time, all the time. It's worked out really well for me to cut down on the noise. I don't have to set anything up, which is also important with a portable generator. There's power goes out, I come out, I hit the button, flip the main off, flip the gen on, and we're up and running, and nothing else to really deal with, which is really nice, and it gets protected from the weather. The only other thing I added was a 12-volt light. This guy here, flip that on, and it's good for refueling at night, that type of thing, so I don't have to deal with a flashlight, and that just runs again off the 12 volts here. And it's been a great package for me, and definitely I appreciate it. My neighbors half a mile away appreciate it, because you could probably hear this thing screaming half an hour away, or half a mile away. But yeah, if you have any questions on this setup and you're attempting to do it on your own, I'll be happy to answer it. But I can tell you it's worked great for me. But just make sure you do keep an eye on it, because this is not what I would call a recommended manufacturer recommendation way of making a portable generator not portable. You did also had to take the wheels off and the little feet on the front, so that the gen itself is sitting right on the floor. But it's worked out so well for me, I figured I'd share it with all of you while I was doing the oil change here. So always, appreciate you watching, and have a great day.